Happy New Year, everyone. This is Paul with Particl, and welcome to 2019. I thought it'd be a really cool thing to just kind of go over, where our roadmap is right now, and some of the great things that we delivered in 2018, and some of the stuff we're finishing up and working towards in 2019. So let's get started. So one of the first things in 2018 was just a show of force from our cold staking protocol that we put out. There were some big bugs that came out. Pretty much affecting every system that's out there, and in proof of stake consensus systems especially, they were really vulnerable to it. It was something that really everybody was affected that had a computer. It was a big deal, and cold staking sort of flexed its muscles just for the fact that the way it's designed, the coins are held offline, but the wallet that's broadcasting the to the network is actually online all the time, and it doesn't have any coins inside of it, so you really don't even need to encrypt it or anything. It's constantly broadcasting a public key, just like all staking systems. But in this case, if it was compromised, there was nothing to be had inside the wallet. So we've talked in the past about how there's some quantum resistance protection in there, and it just kind of shows how the developers as a whole, when they go through this sort of stuff, like how can we make some things better, how can we improve these things, what are some flaws in the system that we use that we like, but how can it be stronger and better. And you look at the core values of Particl, security and privacy being two of the main ones. A lot of the decisions and paths that these guys start taking down our team and community as they start to look how to improve the protocol, those two words come to mind. And so the cold staking had a great year this year. A lot of news with our cold staking. I'll get into that later as we kind of go through the roadmap and see what else came about. So you can find this actually on our website. The current roadmap. It's at particl.io/roadmap, and have a look for yourself. So one of the things on mainnet that was completed, this was sort of a minor thing, but just just some features related to addresses that helped with some of the Bitcoin protocols that were coming out, especially the way stealth addresses are created, and the way it's signed for our hardware wallets and stuff like that. We kind of did an updated version of stealth addresses, so stealth address version 2, and it's just building off of what Technovert had originally put into the Bitcoin core code. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, but pretty much every project that's built on Bitcoin that has stealth addresses put in, there's probably a 99% sure that was written by Technovert. We put that into Shadow Cache when we were working on that project. And it's just just something that was researched and developed, and was a great idea, and so we put that in. So this was just an upgrade to that, and so just a fun fact. The other thing we did was we gained support for hardware devices. So one of the big news pieces that we had, this was in August, was the Ledger integration. So a lot of you guys, I know, use hardware wallets. It's one of the safest ways to store your coins. And Particl you can use with the Ledger Nano S. So alongside of that, we actually worked in cold staking. Like I said, cold staking had a big year for Particl this year. And cold staking with the Ledger wallet was the first time that you could do that. So you can actually hold your part offline in a Ledger wallet, and the network will, and then you tag that up with either your own wallet that's online all the time, or ultimately, you know, we just launched last month cold staking pools, and so with, you know, either way you can link those two, and it'll work on your behalf, and you know, protect your coins. They're offline, but you can, you know, contribute on the network. You can work for the network and get rewards on the network. Probably the biggest news of 2018 was the Alpha Marketplace. So something everybody was looking forward to seeing. And we launched that on testnet in May. So in May was our Alpha Particl Marketplace, and that was launched onto a Particl desktop app, which is our flagship app. It's the GUI, the user interface that most people would use. It's the easiest and simplest, best designed user face in the space, and you can use it on your desktop, and you can use it on tablets that are window based or similar, and you know, you can use that as your main wallet. Well, on top of that, we build in the opportunity to have our dApps plugged into that. And so the first dApp that we produced was the marketplace. So the Alpha Marketplace was our decentralized marketplace that came out, and it came out on testnet, and it's been having versions, you know, since May of 2018. And piggybacking on that, we're coming up on the beta version of Marketplace. So we've kind of been teasing it a little bit. If you haven't noticed, you know, you should start noticing, because pretty soon we're going to have a switch from alpha to beta, and so we'll be promoting that. We've started to do some teases with that, but that's happening this quarter. So, and it could be happening faster than you think. So keep an eye on that, but that'll be a big switch from alpha to beta. Now, alpha was a really basic proof of concept. We're doing this as a privacy marketplace. So as I've said a whole bunch of times before, it just takes, you know, 10 times, 100 times harder to do things. And Particl's a testing environment. So everything that we put out goes through a testing process on our testnet before it goes on to mainnet. So this was in May was when we put it out on testnet, and it's been on testnet ever since. But we've had 2 or 3 different versions that have come out that have been stable builds, and right now we're building our final alpha stable build. And when that's ready, we'll do the switch over to our beta build. And one of the factors with beta initially was to have a governance system built in. So we'll have decentralized governance built in the marketplace. And then on top of that, we had talked about having the private transactions and dealing with our RingCT protocol and having that on mainnet. So as we've built this, we were able to, last year we actually got the RingCT was peer reviewed by the New Jersey Institute of Technology, plus it was code reviewed by WSA. And we are actually in the middle of getting ready to sign on another code review of the RingCT, a little more in-depth one, just to make sure that everything's good. We've had that on testnet for more than a year, so it's been on there for a long time. Our testnet chain, if you're new to Particl, is, you know, a lot more advanced than our main chain, and that's just because we're a testing project at this time. You know, we're a little over a year and a half old, and you know, a lot of the stuff that we do are firsts in the space. Like I said earlier, this, you know, back in the day, as one of the first projects was Stealth Address, it wasn't Particl, it was a different project, but we just our developer team and everybody, they bring a lot of firsts to the space. So confidential transactions obviously was the first time it was on a main chain, the mainnet chain, which is on Particl. We were one of the first projects when we launched in 2017 to have SegWit native. So every transaction on Particl has always been SegWit. So we don't have a history of past ones. We didn't have to activate SegWit. It was just native built-in when we launched. And RingCT again is Ring confidential transactions combined. You have a really powerful privacy scheme, which breaks the linkability and traceability of the coins, through the history of the chain. So that's just a real quick overview of RingCT. But we had that peer reviewed, we had it code reviewed, and another first for the chain. This is all older news, but just to give an update, was that on Bitcoin's code base. And it's similar to Monero's version, but it's a totally ground up build. Monero has its own code base, and there really wasn't a whole lot from that we could take. If you read the paper, and talking with Technovert a number of times, it was hard to, from the paper, the explanation of it was there, the logic was there, the research was there, but to actually take what was designed in that paper and build it, you really couldn't do that. So it was a scheme sort of he was thinking of even before that paper was out, but it's just the nature of cryptographers. They kind of have a general idea of this, all the different protocols and schemes that are out there. And I think, in his mind, talking with him, he wouldn't have said this, but it sounded like he was kind of had an idea of how to combine confidential transactions and RingCT before that paper was out, but it definitely showed that it could be done. And when it was time to put it onto Bitcoin, Technovert built that from the ground up. Any other project that you see with RingCT, they're using Technovert's open source code. So just something, shows that there is definitely legitimizes, I guess, the team that we've got here. So, congrats to those guys. So, we had the review of RingCT. One of the things that we wanted to put on, getting back to the marketplace, was we wanted RingCT onto beta, and we wanted that governance. RingCT was that's been ready for a while. Like I said, it's been on for a year plus, year and a half almost, and the governance, actually part of the marketplace, is on version 2, and that's ready. So that's being built into the stable version now. So what we're going to have is an alpha version that comes out, that's a stable build of the alpha, and then we're going to switch it over to the beta version. And the alpha will actually have governance in it. So we've always said that the definition of the beta would be that it has governance and the RingCT in it. What's going to happen is we're going to release a stable version of alpha, and that's going to have the governance in it, but it won't have the RingCT on mainnet yet. We need to do a hard fork for that. And the reason we're doing that is because there's still some research where Technovert actually wants to have a better scheme, something similar to Bulletproofs on the mainnet when it comes on. So we're holding off on putting the hard fork of the RingCT out till that's on. And we're actually, like I said, looking at bringing on another code review, and they would be reviewing both of those. So the code review previously doesn't touch on the Bulletproofs. So it's just, another way of just double checking, getting some more eyes on it. Like I said, everything that we put out is open source. Everything we're working on is in public directories. The team has private directories, but everything team project related is actually in open source. And like I said, we're doing a lot of firsts on the project. So people use our code, and they, as long as they're giving proper credit, then that's how we set up the license. But anyway, they're using our code. So we want to make sure on our end, this is stuff we're putting out there, that it needs to be, if other people are going to use it, other projects are going to use it, we feel like we need to have it reviewed before it gets out. We're dealing with, in a lot of these projects, a lot of personal funds, money. Some of them are more ambitious like us that, we're building more than just a coin. But anyway, with all of that stuff, there's some responsibility that we feel like we have to take. And so we're having all those reviews sort of done. So that was a good year for reviews for some of the long-awaited privacy stuff that'll be on mainnet this year. So that's the Alpha Marketplace. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, it's pretty cool. When it first came out, it was awesome, but it was breaking a lot. So it's just like a typical proof of concept, and that's what you'll find on a lot of the products as we test them. It's a testing environment. So we've had a number of steady community testers on it. A lot of bug reporting, and we just thank you guys for helping us get this far. And like I said, we've got some more coming, so should be great. Yeah, market listing governance. So I already touched on this, but one of the pieces that is finished was the marketplace governance, and the governance is actually set up. It's weighted by it's used by weight. But if you download our marketplace, you can see that there's a queue that holds all the governance items, things that have been pegged by other people, and it's a decentralized setup. So the Particl team, nobody has the development team, nobody has any access to be able to handpick or single out vendors or items. It's all based on the decentralized nature, the peer-to-peer nature of the platform. So it just gets back to the roots where what we're doing is meant to be peer-to-peer, and it can even be done in a trustless manner. So with market listing governance, that's where that's at too. So that's something to look forward to. If you have the newest alpha builds, it's on there now too. So and we've started to do some demos you guys can find on YouTube for that. So that's stuff that's completed last year, and I also want to fill you in on some of the stuff that's in progress and then some stuff that's coming. So the multi-wallets, again with our flagship product, the desktop, just the ability to have multiple wallets built into that. The front end's set up for that, and so we're just waiting on the back end to kind of connect the dots. What you'll find now that we've gotten to this point in the life of the project, and especially the life of desktop, is that our front end team's a lot more ahead on our back end, and that's simply because we can set up the design and look of everything, but a lot of the not harder work but more rigorous work is on the back end. So we have things like our multi-wallet. You've probably seen some sort of rough GIFs that are out showing that and showing sort of the neat thing with that. Another thing is the private marketplace. So our main marketplace, we've kind of been calling it the open marketplace. Sort of imagine like a big open market, and then sort of imagine like little bubbles on the outside that are private markets. And so the private markets can be as small as a vendor and a specific line of their items. It could be a special invite only one person to one person marketplace for like one deal. It could be an ecosystem of, say, like-minded vendors, and everybody comes in and posts their own stuff, but it's a special group just for that. Maybe it's farmers or something like that, and they only want to be in there. They don't want to come to the marketplace and search, have to weed through electronics or anything like that. So that's sort of what private marketplace is set up as. And like I said, you can't search for things within it and everything. So some of those graphics and the user interface, the way it operates, you've probably started to see this past year. And so a big part of 2019 will be, connecting all those dots and getting the back end going forward with that. So those will be updates to our Particl desktop. Those will be updates to the Particl marketplace as well. So in progress, that would be multi-wallets. In progress is our beta marketplace, like I said, and some of the things you can start to look forward to with that, and we've already explained this on some blogs, but you can look forward to some inventory management, some the private side of all the transactions and listings. That would affect Mat Escrow as well, and there may be some reputation being built into that and some communication being built in too. So a lot of pieces that everybody that's shopped online, you guys kind of are used to using, that's being built in. So, the hard part is getting the base sort of proof of concept, which was the alpha out. Another hard part on top of that was doing all the testing, which you guys helped us with. So the next phase is cut that stable build, get that alpha solid, and move forward with adding these new features that are gonna, I think with every new feature we'll start to see vendors start to gravitate more and more. To be honest, I think once we have inventory management, or until then, we probably won't have a lot of larger vendors come in, because nobody wants to really spend the time clicking a bunch and putting in individual items. So having that in, when you can do it with one click, input a whole bunch of items, will be a big deal. That'll grow the vendor base. And then there will be a bunch of other things as far as communication or ratings or reputation, maybe a better governance system. All that stuff can be in flux, but the hard part is in the past. The hard part was in 2018. The fun part, the growth and everything, just expect in 2019. So another piece that's in development is our SDK set. So that's our software development kit. And that's being worked on. And typically how developers work, they'll get everything and put it in, and especially on small teams. Now on large teams, you can document a lot of this stuff, have a group documenting it and another group putting it in. But with, just having a small team and, just the limits of everything that we're doing, a lot of that gets put into the space. It gets put into the code, and then after we're done, so after, say, we hit the end of alpha or the end of beta, probably more than likely, we kind of take a step back and start to get that documentation done on all the calls and RPC and the API stuff, and that'll help us finish up the SDK set. SDK kit will usher in a new group of developers that'll come in. With an SDK kit, we can start to promote hackathons that are based on Particl. So we'll be able to have students that can come in and start to maybe do some exercises or projects based on Particl's SDK set. This is where you start to see the growth of dApps come into the platform, and just the whole platform space, the whole ecosystem as a whole. If you guys were around at the start of 2017 or even the 2016, the end, you could see that with Ethereum is a good classic example, where you get a lot of projects that are starting to be built, and the Ethereum group as a whole can help promote those other projects that are being built as well. So just pretty cool stuff. So the SDK will be a great thing for that. We'll be able to start, expanding the educational options for it, like maybe working with groups like Block Geeks and those kind of sets where classes could be built based around the privacy that we've built on top of Bitcoin, or the use of our the scripts to be able to do dApps like the marketplace or future ones. So could be pretty cool. Another thing that's actually being worked on right now from our newest developer, which we just stuck a blog post out, is the Copay wallet, which is our mobile wallet. So what I've heard is that that's up to date now, and I've also heard that there's a testing version of the iOS mobile wallet, which is awesome. That's something everybody's been waiting for since we launched it. I think I even wrote a blog post about it and said it'd be weeks away until We corrected it pretty soon after that, where it was, it's going to happen when it happens. But so the focus of Rob is coming in and actually getting that copay up to snuff. And so it's up to date now. It takes into account, obviously, the issues that newer versions of it had suffered that was in the news. Our Copay app, as is, isn't affected by that, and that's just because the code is older. It's an older version of it. So it's still stable. It's just not. It didn't have that infected code in it. So the iOS version. So we're working on getting an Apple developer. I don't know what it would be. Account, I guess. Apple developer account, so we can launch an iOS version of the Copay. Another thing he's working on is the cold staking. The next piece will be the cold staking on the Copay. So that would be, something everybody's been waiting for a lot. So the Copay cold staking. The another thing that's in the works that I talked on briefly was the Bulletproofs. So that's related to the privacy schemes that are that we have already. So basically making the privacy that we have on testnet, the RingCT, making that scalable. So Bulletproofs will help with that. Let's see. I think other than that, that's probably a nice, pretty overview of how our roadmap's going. When we stuck this out, it was a 12 to 18 month roadmap, and I think we've tackled, probably a good 2/3 of it so far through the first, I think it's been 12 months. So we've been able to pretty much stay in step. So like I said, when I started this broadcast, 2018, was not one to forget for Particl. Everything, sure, the markets, was bad all the way around, and that kind of stuff. But when you look at the impact that our project can have in the future, when you look at sort of the foundational work that we've done with privacy on Bitcoin, Codebase, with helping secure and lock down some of the flaws in staking, proof of stake, having some partnerships that have formed with Changelly this year and with Ledger, and some other future ones that are going to be coming out related to checkout processes with the marketplace, and future dApps, and then also starting on the SDK for our future developers coming in, just setting all that groundwork, getting all that groundwork going. I think it has been a really successful year. So, don't be down on, if you're down on any project, I guess, or not down on any project, Particls should be on that list. So, I think a lot of people have been real frustrated with the year, but, look at everything that, the good projects have been doing, Particl being one of those. And, we've got some great stuff and really a lot of stuff to look forward to. So thanks for tuning in for this, and continue to keep an eye out for our AMA schedule. I actually am going to put out an AMA schedule. I've got the whole year mapped out, and we're going to be tagging between live streams. We're going to be putting in some focuses on the features of different things that we've built. So probably marketplace being the features of the marketplace, one of them, or the features of, say, cold staking. So having some topical video broadcasts that are topical weaved in, and then also some topical ones on actual products. So we have the desktop, we have the marketplace, the Copay app that's getting updated, and cold staking pools, actually. So that was one I hadn't even mentioned. But we've had some new blog posts related to those too, where we actually have some cold staking pools where people can team together and join in on the rewards of working on the network. So really cool stuff. There's a list of cold staking pools out there, so you're not limited now to participate and get rewarded based on a small amount of part that you might have that you want to hold in your wallet. So very cool stuff. So with the AMA schedule, we're going to weave in some live streams like I did mostly last year every 2 weeks. We're weaving in some topical feature videos, topical product videos, product focused videos. And we're also going to run back onto Reddit. And so Reddit, we're going to have some full team AMAs. We're going to have some focused team AMAs. I think the first one being at the end of this month, being the front end developers, bringing those guys onto the AMA. So we have some developers who, don't want to be on video, which is no big deal. But it just felt like it made a lot of sense for me not to be always the one that bears all the information to everybody. I thought, let's get the developers involved. There's no big deal to sit for an hour and answer questions, just typing form. Just kind of jump in and just let's open it up and get people, involved with the community and the community involved with the team. So you can expect some team AMAs. You expect some solo or paired AMAs. We're going to do that on Reddit, where we're going to do it on both platforms, but on Reddit focused on maybe one just specific AMA right on Reddit for one team member or a pair of team members. Doesn't even have to be our developers. But I could imagine, Technovert and Code, say, getting on an AMA 1 month and talking about core. Specifically answering questions about core. So we set those up, so those are spread out, and I'll also do some live streams where we'll have some guests that come on as well. So keep an eye out for the AMA schedule. This is the first of this year, and it's not really an AMA, but it's a topical one, basically kind of giving a update to the project, so, and leading us into 2019. As I was going through this, I noticed there's a few other things that we missed, so I thought I'd pick them up real quick. One of the cool things that we started doing towards the end of 2018 was start going places. So getting like a boots on the ground, sort of out there, get us out there, start showing off, demoing the marketplace. That's something you could do when you're past the pitch phase, and you're actually developing stuff and you're actually building stuff. So there's not a lot of projects that are like that, even projects that raise, obviously tons of money and have been around longer than us. It's just a testament again to how 2017 and 18 went and how 2019 will be. So one of the big marketing pushes we have this year is to go to more events, demo the product, show every time we have some new features that are out, we can actually be scheduled for events that are going to be out there. So last year, towards the end of the year, we were able to go to one of the events was Crypto Camp in Toronto, and there were 5 of us that were there, and we were able to demo the marketplace and meet some folks. And we had some meetups last year where we had a couple folks in Brazil that were doing some meetups, and I gave a few where I'm from. And we had some other community members that were doing reviews as well. So we're really starting to see the community step up and get the awareness out there, as well as us going to events and everything too. So it's amazing to go to the events. Even when we did the demo at Crypto Camp, we were in the specific. We had to do a proposal and show we want to demo this market, and sitting through some of the other demos, they were all PowerPoints still. They were all pitches still. Some weren't even PowerPoints. They were just people talking about it, the idea of a demo. And, being able to be there, actually show the working product was pretty cool. So being able to do that at a bunch of places will be great. We actually got to do it real soon after we launched Alpha in May last year was Consensus. And Desiree, Joe, and I were out there in New York, and we didn't have a booth, but there were nobody else doing demos, and we actually had our laptops out, and we've talked about this before, but we had our laptops out, we had our shirts on, and people were coming up to us, obviously with fans of the privacy coin part, that but also wanting to see what the latest stuff was that we were playing with, so we were able to show them right there. So look forward to us being at we've already announced this, but we're going to be at Token 2049 at Asia Crypto Week. That's in March. So that'll be a big showing of the beta marketplace there. And we're looking at spaces at Consensus right now to actually have a spot potentially, and locate a good spot to be able to show off the demo, actually the working project, the product, the marketplace. So have some swag and merchandise and different things like that where you have to actually use it, like proof of, like a point of sale sort of tablet, and go through it and actually get to touch it. And one thing with the way the user interface is on that the guys have built on desktop and designed, and the branding that Hairloft's done, and Alien and Mark, those guys, you just want to touch it. So just to be able to have that kind of sleekness and everything, like the team knows what they're doing, and it's great seeing some stuff come out. So that's another piece that I forgot to throw in there, but that's definitely, like I said, one of our marketing big pushes. We have our own YouTubers that are in here with Desiree and Lena. We've got a stellar like social media and community group with Christina and CryptoGuard, and CryptoGuard even doing way more than just community management, with blogs and going to events. And so we have a whole bunch of people that are willing and able to go to these events, and a bunch of community members that have stepped up to do it too. So we'll be looking at you guys. If there's an event near you, let us know. If it's something that you want to speak at, having a meetup at, something like that, just let us all know, or reach out to Lena. She's kind of our lead community evangelist, but any of us really. So this is kind of the year where we just kind of flex our muscles and show our product, and really just start seeing the base grow, and just the excitement grow, because people are actually able to see something. They're not just listening to pitches anymore and just dreaming big dreams. Like the team's delivered. It set the foundation in 2017, built on top of that strong foundation in 2018. 2019 we have the products, and it's time to take off. So thanks again for supporting Particl. We appreciate everybody that comes and contributes their valuable time to help us improve our products, or help us improve the project, help improve the awareness of the crypto in general, awareness of privacy, the importance of privacy, and awareness of Particl and what we're doing too.